And we're live. Welcome to Earful of Dirt Rugby Podcast. We are your MLR podcast, I don't know what I just said, but this is the Major League Rugby Podcast where we cover pretty much everything because we keep our ears in the dirt. So we thought there was a rumor, but it's actually breaking news, so I'll get to that late in the show. Tonight we have a special guest, Terry Kilbane from the Rugby City podcast. Is that what you really call the land? The ARC training squad is out. We'll go over the makeup of it. There's some fantastic player signings, and there's some SD Legion news, which I'll get into later on in the show. Also, the Sabercats hosted the Seattle Saracens in a preseason match. So, Terry, the land.
Yes, Rugby City. Actually, it's funny for you to say that, actually, because that is kind of how the name Rugby City came about. I was putting together an idea for this rugby lifestyle, rugby culture podcast, and one of my buddies, we were hanging out, having a couple bourbons, and he's a pretty brilliant graphic designer. Yes, yeah, and he is the one, Tom Zarady, brilliant graphic designer and super strong tight head prop, by the way. He's actually the designer of the Rugby City logo. But we were kind of just having a couple bourbons, and he designs T-shirts and logos and things like that. And he was trying to think of a cool T-shirt for rugby he can develop. And I was I couldn't think of a cool name for the podcast. And my idea for his T-shirt was hey, there's so much rugby going on in Cleveland. There's a market for that stuff. You should make a T-shirt that says Cleveland, Ohio, Rugby City, USA. He's like, shit, dude, are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
What?
Are we allowed to swear on this podcast? All right.
I mean,
what a nerd.
It's familial, but I probably would get cut for the amount of bombs I've already shared on this show.
But yeah, and that's where the name Rugby City came from. And I'm a proud Cleveland rugby supporter. So that actually is kind of the story of Rugby City podcast.
Yeah. So when it comes to I found out, because you mentioned it, and then I talked to somebody else about rugby in Cleveland, and Cleveland is one of the burgeoning places when it comes to youth rugby. And, I'm starting to feel that if there's an Ohio team, it should skip Columbus and go to Cleveland, because USA Rugby is going to send you guys a test at some point. It's on the docket.
I hope so, and I think there's a lot of people here in Ohio that would agree with that statement. Cleveland has a reputation. Our lake caught on fire. Our football team just went 0-16. But it's a great city, though. I love Cleveland. It's a great town. But
did you attend that parade?
I didn't. At first, I was like, this is stupid. This is going to embarrass our city. This is lame. But you know what it was? It was like a protest party. And everyone had a good time, and they kind of vented. And it was more it wasn't against the players. It was about the ownership, not having their act together. So it was just kind of fun and people venting, So I did not go, though. But it was also -3 degrees. So it's not about that life.
Moving on, I'm going to offload this one to Victor since we've got a lot to cover today. We have a review.
Oh, do we? I didn't notice. Oh, give me a second. Yeah, I see it right here. Awesome. Well, I guess. Sorry, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking at it. Yeah, I noticed right here. Cool. Okay, so first of all, guys, good evening. Welcome to Earful of Dirt. Victor here. By the way, if you're wondering, because Aaron didn't mention it, Daniel is out of the country, actually.
5-star hotel in Panama. Right now. We don't need to.
That's right, 5-star hotel in Panama. It's really cool.
If I do a good job, do I take Dan's job?
Ooh.
Am I in? Is this a tryout, or how does this
work? You know what, Terry? I'm up for it.
All right.
You can take Dan's job.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. On to this
Beautiful.
review.
So anyway, so reading this, guys. So we got the review on the 19th of December of last year. Wow, it's already 2018. And I quote, awesome podcast is the title. Just started listening to some podcasts. Great stuff, fellas. Between Barstool and Earful, my ride down to NOLA will be painless. Wow, Captain Miles. Good. I know who that is.
I'm guessing Captain Miles is living in good old Fort Polk, Louisiana. So,
yeah, I think that's Miles McClone, the guy from. I forgot where he's from now, but he's playing NOLA.
So
I think and that's one of the players.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, thank you. If it is Miles McClone, thank you, sir.
I don't think it's that guy because like Captain Miles. I think that's like driving to NOLA makes me think the person is going to drive to NOLA. You know what I'm saying? So
maybe I don't know.
Moving forward, something amazing in American rugby history occurred this weekend. We had the Houston Sabercats hosting the Seattle Saracens. For the most part, if you evaluate this, you see a relatively strong Sabercats. They have a few guys that had just come into the country. Justin Allen, we'll talk about him. James Deaver has been in for a few weeks. But it wasn't like their pure first choice squad because, people are, got some niggles that they're nursing versus what was a drained Saracens side. You saw a few of their MLR players, Olive Khalifi and Shalom Suniula were not on the field on Saturday. Olive Khalifi is nursing an injury from the November tour. It's, you still had MLR players coming onto the pitch. You had Dion Crowder, Louis Henson, and Aladdin Shermer. Thoughts to Aladdin Shermer. Hopefully things will be all right because he left the field late in the game with what looked to be a pretty serious knee injury. Hopefully it's nothing, and he's ready to go to camp in about a week for the Eagles. It was a standing room only crowd, guys. So the official tally was 130 comped tickets.
That's not bad.
5,224 paid tickets for a total attendance, scanned ticket attendance of 5,354 patrons, and not including about 150, 200 ankle biters. After the second half of the broadcast came up on Grant Cole's backup on his Mixler channel, I was pretty much really impressed with, our friend Grant and, his ability to just commentate on a game. I've heard him before. Taking away from that half of the broadcast, Sabercats were dominant in the scrum, dominant in the set piece, and Saracens played really tough, hard-hitting defense, but they just really couldn't get much of the ball. So, also, the Sabercats, for now, I guess, are going to be giving – they hosted the Saracens in what is normally the home team locker room. So they gave up the home team locker room to their guests. And that's a really nice locker room for a minor league facility when it comes to baseball. So off to Victor.
Let me tell you, I definitely really enjoyed the match. Again, too bad we couldn't hear or listen to the first half. But the second half was really fun, I have to say. Props to Grant. He brings an energy to the game that I haven't heard. I think since I started listening to, for at one point in time, baseball on radio, specifically Spanish language radio, which is hilarious. So he sort of brings that Latino-est to rugby, although he's not, obviously, which is kind of funny, though. I have to say, definitely really enjoyed it. Now, on to the match itself. The Sabercats just blew it out of the water. They literally ate Saracens. And by the way, I know I used the word literally wrong, but it's on purpose. But dang it, 50-7. It's just ridiculous. It was definitely deserved to give man of the match to Zach Pangelinin, or whatever you pronounce his Chamorro last name, because it's from Guam, as you guys probably know. But still really good to see a guy from the little islands of the U.S. making it big in the States. Can't wait to get some Puerto Ricans in rugby. I mean, I'm waiting for that. Some PRs, so that would be awesome. Seriously.
They play rugby down in the Virgin Islands, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. They could get some guys from USVI, and plus they already have Tim Duncan, who is from USVI, playing in San Antonio. Get one of those other guys to play in Houston. There we go. Yeah, good point. There you go. Good connection there, Aaron. I like that. But yeah, really fun. And one of the things also that we had to bring up, guys, is the fact that the whole atmosphere, the whole thing that went on to the game, professional. It just looked like a professional outfit from the get-go. The fan interaction, obviously what play on the field, at the end of the match, the fireworks. I mean, the Tavantron that they had too, with the show of the names of pictures of the players whenever they score a try. Again, really fun stuff. Looks like a really great atmosphere. Now, of course, and the fact that it also broke a USA Club record on the amount of people they had in the field. Excuse me, for the match, was 5,300 plus people.
So they beat the highest pro game out of the water pretty much, but the USA Club record was there's two records. The USA Club rugby record, so I would say senior rugby, not collegiate, was 4,500. So
not bad.
They beat it by 850. So that was pretty comfortable. That's pretty awesome.
Who was Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Terry, no worries.
Yeah, but no. Who was? I was curious. Who? I saw that stat somewhere. Did they say what clubs had that?
I'm gonna look it up. There was a discussion I was in today that might have it. That was an official number from USA Rugby, by the way. 4,500 as the record.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I need to Sabercats when they crossed 4,000 requested data from USA Rugby, and they got it. So I'm looking right now. But Terry, what's your take on all this, man?
I gotta say, so we kind of chat a little bit about pro and where we are today, and coming into the pro season, there wasn't the same feel that there was to MLR. They were signing guys from overseas, and they were getting big names. And it's almost like everybody wasn't really, diving in like they are for MLR. Just watching, following it on social media, and seeing all these like local news stations covering the Sabercats pregame stuff, and seeing all like everyone getting so excited about it. It's really exciting. And I got to tell you, like, one of the moments that like I got really pumped was the Sabercats actually like posted this like tailgating guideline thing, and that's awesome. For the reason it's awesome is they're going to tap into the diehard rugby fans. They're going to come to watch these matches. But where you're really going to have success is reaching out to the broader community and saying, "Hey, come to this party. Like, we are having a rugby party. You're all invited. There's going to be top-notch athletes, but this is for everybody. Just if you're not familiar with the game, come have a good time and check it out." And I mean, geez, 5,300 people, obviously, and that's an exhibition play. They're not even playing another pro team. It's a friendly. That's very exciting. I'm psyched. I'm really excited. I mean, I've already, I'm kind of picking. I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm trying to figure out which games I want to go to. I'm kind of looking at NOLA because I know a couple guys there, and I've never been to New Orleans. That sounds like fun. But yeah, I'm just psyched that this looks like it's good. This really looks like it's something that's going to stick this time, and I'm pumped about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was following the the ticket sales as it went, because their projection was a bit less in the morning. They knew they were going to hit what they wanted to hit, and then they crushed it. So I was really – so you had the tailgating fan experience we've talked about, going back to Diana Anderson, the person who runs Rugby United Marketing, which is the marketing firm for Major League Rugby. She's talked about two really – she's like a wizard, witch, whatever you want to call with marketing. She's the guru, right? She talked about two things, like fan experience, fan activation. So let's get into, fan experience, right? So first thousand people that went into the game through the gate, they got the Chinese sticky things. I don't know what the noise making sticks. So they just hit.
I got you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They got those, right? So 1,000 people got those, and they got a swag bag. I don't know what it was. I think it was a shirt. And then they had all these cards going out for Sabercats that were like try. So every time Sabercats scored a try, people could hold up their try signs, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that super cool? Then, out in the, during the tailgating, what are called the Saber Kittens, they were your rugby geniuses going out into the crowd. And for those that were unfamiliar with rugby, they were explaining the rules of the game. They were taking down names for email lists. And then during the match, they were taking a potato gun and shooting out Sabercats t-shirts, right? And then you had a live band going on for 2 hours in the fan zone. And, it was just a really cool thing. I was going to try and get down there for January 20th against Uruguay, but I got to move my house. So I'm kind of I would totally get fired as the man for my girlfriend. So that's not going to happen. But
there'll be other girls. Don't worry about it.
They're doing it right in Houston. I've met Justin Fitzpatrick. I've met Sam Windsor, Matt Truville. I've seen what they have for the 5-year plan and what they're going to do this year in the next 12 months. And it's just crazy what Sabercats are doing. It's just great. I want to see this level somehow carried throughout their exhibition preseason season and through their homestand, because what that will say for USA Rugby is Houston is going to sell out for Scotland. And the reason why I know that is Houston is the largest locale for Scotland expats. And I know Scotland's coming back because, Dan Payne confirmed it through his friend Dan Lyle at the Lost Afternoon Rugby Luncheon. So that's going to happen in June. That's going to be pretty awesome. So if you get what I'm saying, there's going to be another Lost Afternoon Rugby Luncheon in June. Make sure you're there. I'm so hyped for where the league is going and where we can go with it.
And guys, also real quick to make another point. Now, keep in mind that obviously the success that we're having in Houston is great, obviously. But keep in mind, this has to move into the other 6 franchises. Obviously, not all markets are going to be the same. That's obvious. But trying to get them at the same level as what happened in Houston, and keep in mind, this is still preseason. But once the season starts, or once or during preseason, because many of the teams are going to have games, they need to have that same level of excitement throughout their community. Glendale is already good, so I don't think they'll need that much help. but certainly down in Ola, obviously Seattle, down in Utah, of course in San Diego, since they're pretty much dead last right now.
When it comes to that, will they show up? I think you're going to see – so pro average like 1,700. I think I want to say you're going to see an average between 2,800 and 3,500. And part of that reason is not all the facilities are going to be at, Infinity Park's size.
Of course.
So like Starfire is 4,500 up in Tukwila for the Seawolves. The Austin Elites facility is being expanded to 3,500. So we're gonna run into capacity issues very fast, I think. And a lot of these people, they have ties to the community. Like NOLA, I don't think they're going to have an issue getting people there because, the club has been there. The NORFC has been there for a very long time. And then there's a pretty solid high school system going on. So the question is, for everyone, is going to be about marketing. And if you do what the Sabercats have done, it's going to be successful.
New Orleans is also a destination spot. That like you have all these NFL teams moving to Vegas and LA because that's a place where, like, if my Cleveland Browns are playing in Vegas, I don't care that they're 0-8. Like, let's go to Vegas, let's party. And I think like NOLA is going to pick up on that too, and San Diego, Seattle. All the cities are places where people want to go and like visit and check out. And so I think the fact that they're pretty much all like cool cities, if you will. You're going to have a lot of people that are just coming into town to see some pro rugby players, see international pro players. Well, I think you're definitely going to see that. I know. I can speak just from people within my own social circle. That's what we're talking about is which one of these games we're going to go to and make a weekend of it.
Moving on, let's cover the ARC training squad. I pushed out a preview on the hook late last week. It gives you my personal view, I guess. But breaking down as far as how this works is, for me, I'm not nearly as mad as I stated on the show or annoyed as the November tour. We seem really healthy overall. This training squad gives us pretty close to a first choice, first 15. We have 14 MLR players, 10 overseas pros, 11 amateur. Of those amateur, there's 3 playing in for PRP clubs, which is the Pacific Rugby Premiership, 2 sevens players, 1 collegiate, and 1 unattached who had experience for Pro Ohio. So interesting names for me are Hooley. He was in England under 20, Elkins, and Barris in that order. Off to you, Victor.
Well, I have to say, really happy for this new round of players coming in for the America's Rugby Championship. First group that are going to be with Gary Gold on the helm, although he mentioned in interviews that he didn't have a lot of input because obviously he's coming in new. So he led others to partake in choosing which players to have on the roster. But nonetheless, the one that I'm still kind of, well, not really, if it's not the word, but it's still kind of unknown to me, is obviously Will Hooley. Never seen the guy played. Then again, I don't really watch Championship much.
Apparently he's good. That's
the funny thing is he's good. No, but check this out. The funny thing is he's good, but he's playing for second division.
Yeah,
the guy that was in both Exeter and Saints.
Guess what? I'm gonna break this down for you, Victor. So he's in England under 20 when he was an age grade. AJ McGinty, the current starting fly half, he was a late bloomer. So this guy has been pegged for most of his life as a talent. One of the reasons why he's playing in the championship, though, is he suffered a concussion late last year with Exeter. So, this could be the guy. I like our fly halves, but if, because AJ suffered a knee injury, it's going to take a while for him to get back. I wonder, that leaves this position open. So Will Maggie has been on and off his, backup on the 23 and also a starter. Will Maggie's completely capable of playing. He has also played in the England second division,
Yeah, that's true. He was in England for quite a while. That is true.
So, fly half, I think we're going to be all right, to be honest. It sucks to lose AJ, though. I tell you what.
Oh, my goodness.
That was...
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. That's why I haven't even watched the Sale Harlequins game, because I already know the spoiler. AJ is injured, and I made it very clear in the podcast, AJ is my guy. Again, my USA Rugby jersey in the back says McGinty 10 USA Eagles.
I guess we can look at this, and Terry, you can jump in. Now we're thin at loose forward, because as of right now, we don't know Aladdin Shermer's status. And other than Tony Lamborn, we had sparse caps at the 6 and 7 named to the squad. So I wonder who is going to be called up if Aladdin is out.
But doesn't Aladdin play 8-man anyway?
No, Aladdin plays 6.
Oh, okay. Very well.
8-man is... The named 8 men are Cam Dolan and Hunko Hamashais.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a wild card. Oh, and I forgot. If we're talking Eagles, let's talk Eagles. So here's this. I'm shooting from the hip here, but what about flanker? I was actually. My eyes went kind of wide when this guy was selected to the roster. I didn't think he was quite going to make a splash this quickly. But incredible athlete, flanker's kind of a plug-and-play position. Give some whoosling a swing at this,
I thought he was going to get capped in November, to be honest. I thought I liked his tape during the America's Pacific Challenge. He started one match and then came in on 2 others. I thought he was going to get capped, and he didn't. So I think he's going to earn 2 or 3 caps during this. Heck, now, because he played 7 for Lawrence, who is also an assistant on this squad under Gary Gold. So I think he's going to play 7. However, again, we are now thin at loose forward, and I thought so. Ben, he played a lot at 6 during the America's Pacific Challenge, so he can slide over. I like him at 6, I really do. But then that leaves us a little thin at lock. So we are thin at lock for possibly other reasons.
The Savetta ban?
Yeah, he's
in the clear from my understanding.
Savetta is banned until the 29th, which makes him up for selection on the 3rd, which I will be at, by the way. For the pod and for myself, I will be at for the doubleheader, the Super Rugby match and whatnot. But so he's available. But what do suspensions work into? The guy owns the 5 shirt, so how much does that affect his camp time and all that stuff? I don't know how suspensions work in rugby, because I saw Sonny Bill Williams somehow get credit for that counties match, and then we pulled it with Tony. So whatever.
I could be wrong here, but I read somewhere, and Christ, I could have read this on Twitter, I'm not sure, but I thought it's going to have basically no effect on Savetta's ARC That was my understanding.
Well, I'm wondering about playing like practice time. Like, how do suspensions work into practice time? Because I think they're actually going to have a 2-week camp.
Huh. I've never heard of. That's a good question. I just assume that it's just a game, like a 3-game ban.
Because like in other sports, when you are suspended for like games, at least in the States, I don't know how they work in Europe. You can't be at the facility except to receive treatment. Like, you can't work out there and all that stuff. So I don't know how that works in rugby.
Now, is it a league ban? Because this is like so the ARCs are like international play.
So like the way cards work for professionals, it's supposed to be period, except Sonny Bill Williams and Tony, our boy. You look exactly like Tony Lamborn with that stash, by the way.
Thank you.
But so like it's just matches that you could be eligible for. So that Counties Manukau match that Sonny Bill Williams received credit for somehow because New Zealand players are registered at 4 levels. Wild. So the matches that he was going to be eligible for are all Doncaster. So that's where, like, that would be 3 matches for Doncaster done. But my question is, in rugby, are players able to practice while suspended? I don't know.
That's a good question.
That's one.
But in any case, he is available after the suspension, which is good, I guess. I have no problem with that.
That is a baller. He does work. I really like Savetta's play. I'm a huge fan of watching like locks play. Like Brody Retallick is probably one of my favorite international players. I don't know. A lock that makes an impact outside of the scrum is fun to watch, and Savetta is definitely one of those guys. So I like watching him play. So hopefully he has a good camp. We get to see him ball out. Rugby City guest also, so a little bias.
See, my guy, my lock, personally, and not biased because he's black, Mario Toje. That's my dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna admit a little ignorant. I've not really seen him play a lot, so I gotta.
That dude. So he also plays 6 a bunch, and Morrow he's a world-class athlete. Like, that guy could play in the NFL right now. Like,
seriously,
you put him at rush defensive end or at tight end somewhere, matchup problem. Like, he is that kind of athlete. He is that kind of fit. He can catch the ball that well. Like, he's got good hips. Hips is always like a big thing, in football.
Good catch, dude. He kills.
So yeah, that guy could play. So, I like the squad. I really do. With some of these injuries, I sort of want to know who they're going to call up, and that's it.
Here's a question for you guys. The last ARCs, we kind of had the coming out party of Nate Augsburger. Kind of got some time in front of Sean Davies for a little bit there, and that you don't like. Now,
I've got Sean Davies next week, but I like Nate as a winger.
Okay.
I think Nate is very dynamic as a winger.
I agree.
I think there are way better scrum halves than him behind that are in the system that you will see. I don't know about this Devereaux Ferris guy. Apparently he's pretty good for all those pro guys. I mean, I was told this week to watch pro film on Ferris for Sacramento. And also pro film for Ohio to watch Dylan Fawcett at hooker because he hasn't played hooker at all for Old Blue this year. Like, I've seen two games with him, and he has played 8. So, yeah, that's why I question the selection of him at hooker. But apparently, he's a really good hooker. yeah, Nate, I think, is a really dynamic wing player. He brings some leadership, having served as captain and vice captain multiple times, but he is very slow getting the ball out at the ruck and, scrum. I'm a, if it's those two, if it's Davies or Nate, it's Davies all the way for me.
And last year's ARC, I would have agreed with you. Nate, I think, got the start being frankly, just a little bit better an athlete. And he did have, I think in the Uruguay game in the second half, he had a little bit of an errant pass, and they kind of puts Davies back in, and he was back at wing again. But, and we'll see what happens. But he's had a whole nother year. He came from a sevens background and he was playing a lot of wing. I don't think he really played a lot of scrum half coming up, so it's a little new. The position was a little new to him. So he's got another year of, with the best coaches in America, under his belt. And Davies is a hell of a scrum half. I think it's a good problem to have. I would say that maybe Nate's ceiling's a little bit higher, but yeah, Davies has been balling for the Eagles for a while. Like, he's definitely a hell of a scrum half. It's a good problem to have, and I do like Nate at wing too.
So moving on, just to touch real quickly, we're gonna talk about ticket sales. I had this really long diatribe, but basically here it is. Seattle sold a bunch of season ticket packages already. They're doing really well. I don't know if Starfire Stadium will be able to expand past 4,500, though, if they do even better. The Sabercats, however, in addition to selling 5,224 tickets for this last match, they have sold all of their skyboxes and all of their Founders and Insperity Club spots at Constellation Field for the preseason. So remember, the important thing with that is corporate money coming in to, I would say, support the league, really, because that's, if you go to all these stadiums now, or you go to your local, NBA arena, there's 2 to 3 levels of boxes before you get to the upper deck, right? So corporate money. And the Sabercats seem to have harnessed at least some of that in Houston. Victor, what do you think?
Well, really happy for the numbers, and going back to what we're talking about, the fact that that other teams need to follow the example, or at least hopefully be as good as the Sabercats preseason game. Those numbers are good, I had to say, in terms of, again, pre-season ticket holders, and all having lifetime season holders, which is even better, because you're going to get those people for a lifetime, as the word suggests. But yeah, again, definitely really, really good numbers. I just hope that once the season starts, or once preseason starts, the people that don't have those season tickets would come in and get some good numbers. And again, hopefully better than the ones Rugby ever had during its run.
Hey, Terry, what about you, man?
Yeah, no, it's encouraging. The real games that mean anything are months away still. So the fact that there's a rush on tickets, that's pretty good for, this early in the, we're months away from the first matches that mean anything. That's pretty cool. And we've seen in America, I was that 2 years ago now, that they had, it was the All Blacks in Ireland in Chicago, but still, it was packed. Like, the whole city had shown up for rugby. And, we're talking, it sounds like if these guys, if they're selling a few thousand tickets, they're hitting their numbers. I think I think they're going to knock it out of the park. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. The buzz is there. The ticket sales are there. Everything's looking positive. So I'm excited.
Moving on to what hopefully becomes a very short segment on our show. I think instead of calling it player signings, hopefully it's transfer watch. But got a ton of signings. I was toying with the idea at the time because I thought there were a lot more to just say names because I thought there were like 30 dudes that got signed, but there were only 9. So Victor and I are going to split these up, and then we'll hear your opinions. So starting out with Seattle, Curry Hitchborn brings in Nakai Penny. He's from Penticton, British Columbia. He played 4 years of high school rugby at Penn High. He then took his talents to the UBC Thunderbirds and played under Curry Hitchborn there, where he won multiple BC Premier League titles along with teammate Connor Whale. In 2015, he won the U19 CRC with BC Rugby. In 2016, he was selected to Rugby Canada U20s. This last year, he helped lead the 2017 BC Bears to the CRC title. He is a 7, so he is an open side flanker. He, according to Curry, he's unbreakable. His nickname, middle name is Temujin. And if you know who Temujin is, you will know that you do not want to see him on the pitch. Moving on to Houston, Justin Allen, number 5 lock, is a graduate of Oxford Brookes University. Most recently played for Southend Rugby Club in England. He is from Salt Mills, Wexford, Ireland. He was signed originally for Pro Ohio, but something came up. People have mentioned like visa issues, but he's a dual citizen, so I
probably got a contract from someone better. That Civetta got signed for Ohio too. That actually happened quite a bit, where Pro Ohio would sign a guy and then they get signed to some European team. Yeah. I
don't know, but he was also a member of Chinor RFC after playing with Oxford Brookes. He was, this guy was a can't miss prospect in Ulster. He played with Ulster's age grades, U15, U16, and U17. And, someone just guided him over to Salty Thompson, and he was a select on the 2013 high school All-American squad that toured South America. And from witnesses at the time, this guy was a giant among children down in Casa Grande during that high school All-American camp. And, he's just working into the system with Sabercats, but he started and he's 6'10", but he's probably closer to 7 foot. So they've got 2 giant locks in old Houston going on. Moving back to Seattle, we've got Connor Whale. He's a second rower with a great motor. He was also on the UBC Thunderbirds team that won multiple BC Premier League titles in 2015, 2016, and 2017. In 2015, UBC took 3rd place at the World University Cup in England. This year, under coach Tony Healy, he aided the BC Bears to the CRC title, which is Canadian Rugby Championship, not Collegiate Rugby Championship. This is about 15s, guys. No offense to those 7s, guys. That's a great product to watch. But then we've got Fetu Vainikolo, Utah Warriors. This is, man. So I get a message from the Utah Warriors on Friday when I'm doing this coaching series with Gordon, and it's like right before we go live, and they're like, "Yeah, we got like a decent signing coming up," and I was like, "Okay," and then this drops during the show. Fetu Vainikolo is a center and a wing. He's Tonga Rugby Union's all-time try scorer. He's played for Northland Rugby Union, Otago Rugby, the Highlanders, Connaught, Exeter Chiefs, and most recently Oyonnax in France. This is like for them, they've been working on this for a while. This is a huge signing, and it also shows like they're using their ties to the islands extremely well. Then I think good. Oh, okay. I think the split's kind of funny, so I'm going to take one more.
I got Connacht. I got to play their U20 side when I was in college.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. They beat the shit out of us. It was awesome.
So Dylan Owdsley, he's a center. Played a lot of outside. He was born in London, but he grew up here in Scottsdale. Played rugby for the Scottsdale Blues Wolves program. He was a standout on the football field as a kicker, punter, and defensive back for Chaparral High School. They were the 2011 Division II state champion. He actually thought about playing, football and kicking. He earned Back of the Year honors in 2015 by Goff Rugby Report. He was selected as a junior All-American and on the USA U20 squad. And he has now been selected for the ARC training squad. And if I missed it, he is the second signing for the San Diego Legion and offloading to Victor.
And by the way, real quick, going back to Vinicolo, his latest club is Valence Romans, who play in Federal 1, which is a French third division.
That wasn't on anything I found. But yeah, basically,
it is. Victor with better info. Oh yeah,
that's another pro. So he's played on a lot of professional teams. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, Federal 1 is semi-amateur, so I mean.
Well,
but he's playing.
They still get paid in Federal 3, so. Yeah.
Oh. Okay,
yeah.
Well,
so
I take back what I said then.
They have 5 levels of paid rugby.
Mm-hmm.
Federal
1 to 3, then
Federal 3, you're probably making like $100, like €100 a month though. So
I'm not surprised. But anyways, guys, moving on. So next we got Cam Paulson, who's been signed for Seattle Seawolves. He plays Aikman, and he's another Canadian actually coming into the team.
Riekert's backup.
Also, I'm sorry, Terry, say it again.
Riekert's backup. My boy Riekert Hadding is
going
down the eight-man spot at Seattle.
Riekert Riekert's a monster.
Dude, that's a guy I actually got a chance to play against. And I'm like, okay, yeah, so this guy's like 28. He's 22 years old. He looks like he is not a human being. Like hot. Like I'm sitting at the social and it's like, how is that guy the same species as me? And he's 22 years old. Like, holy shit. He's a monster.
There we go. That's what athletes do. So he's coming from from British Columbia Rugby, BC Rugby specifically, and also from the Castaways Wanderers Rugby Club. So let me see, playing in Cam Paulson for the inaugural season of Major League Rugby. He began playing at the age of 7 for Balhillians RFC in high school, and he played for the Claremont Secondary School, and for a brief moment for Prince Albert College in Sydney, Australia. Played college rugby at Royal Military College, and also the University of Victoria. Going for that, we also have another, going back to Utah Warriors, we have Havea Unufe, who comes from the USA Falcon Sevens team. He plays center wing. He is the younger brother of current Eagle Sevens player, Mr. Maka Unufe. Apparently a stand-up player in 15s. Can't wait to see another Unufe. We also have, and by the way, this last two, going to San Diego, we have one of my favorite players, Mr. Mikey Teo, who has finally signed for an MLR sign. He's been signed for the San Diego Legion. And keep in mind, this was announced through the ARC roster that we just discussed. So it hasn't been put officially by the team itself, but we know it because, again,
Victor,
of the ARC roster.
One thing I've noticed as all these signings are coming out, a lot of these guys are actually signed like last month, a bunch of guys were announced for NOLA. They had actually already signed stuff like months ago. but I don't know why that is, but there's
contracts have to be approved by the league. So
okay.
They were not – the contracts may have been signed, but they were not
legal tenders.
They were not legal tenders.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So Mike Teal was a standout defensive lineman at Long Beach Poly High School. Just back in 2000, back in the early 2000s, and they were also Division I champion in 2008. He played for Belmont Shores, but still plays. And he earned a place in the USA under-20s that won the 2012 Junior World Trophy, Eagle number 476, and has been playing sevens for quite a number of years. Former member of the San Diego Breakers, so really happy that he stayed in his home state. Finally, and he's already been mentioned before, we got Mr. Ryan Matias, who also been signed for the San Diego Legion. We previously shown as a model of the Legion kit. The wingers coming from the sevens program previously played, currently playing, for All Blue of New York. He played for the men's collegiate All-Americans and also helped the men's junior All-Americans to win the Rugby 10 Sevens Championship. He's been playing sevens for quite a while, and also in the 15s program. A highlight of the USA-Germany match as well, especially that beautiful try that he had. Professionally, he's played in New Zealand for North Harvard, their 17s specifically. He also played for the San Diego Breakers, and he's working as a strength and conditioning coach for University of Arizona, or was, if I'm not mistaken. And he was also assistant coach for the Wildcats 7 team. And he's currently the head coach of the San Diego Mustangs, which is a youth rugby club.
His real name is Inigo Montoya. Okay? I told him he needed to grow his mustache back and he needed to grow his hair back because he cut his hair, and that is just not cool. Inigo Montoya.
He looks a lot like him. So prepare to die.
Montoya. Healed my father.
Prepare to die. Prepare to die. It's true. He looks a lot like me, Montoya.
I guess I showed up at the right time. We're talking Princess Bride, one of my favorite movies. Love it. How's it going tonight, guys?
Hello,
hey,
Corey.
Hey, boss. What's up, man?
I'm here. I guess that means it's time for some news, views, and abuse. What do you think?
Yeah. All right. So, breaking news. Thank you to our friends over at the BC Rugby News for the tag, and it's official. I spoke with Curry Hitchborn. Vancouver RFC LLC is established, and they're finalizing their negotiations to enter Major League Rugby in 2019. Curry Hitchborn, currently Director of Rugby Development for the Seawolves, has been appointed the Director of Rugby for Vancouver RFC. Congratulations, my friend. Can't wait to see what you do for another team, because this squad that you've put together in Seattle is pretty ridiculous. So there's going to be a pretty intense local rivalry up in the Pacific Northwest very soon. Victor, offload to you, man.
Real quick, if I can just interrupt, I wanted to point out that our socials are going crazy about this tonight. So if you guys have a chance to check it out, just go to either follow us at Twitter at Earful of Dirt, or on Reddit at reddit.com/r/ML Rugby. And Vancouver is the only thing anybody's talking about tonight. It's just crazy. I think, the BC's original tweet, BC Rugby's original tweet, has been retweeted 20, 30 times already, and it's pretty crazy up there. So I think there's a lot of energy and a lot of excitement coming out of Canada. Folks are ready for this.
There we go. I definitely agree. Can't wait for us to also get something in Cleveland, right, Terry?
Oh, yeah, I love Canada. Vancouver's another cool city.
There you go.
Oh,
well, moving on for the news, guys.
Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yeah, Cleveland. No, Vancouver, Cleveland.
Well, hey, man, if you guys get a team, and that means you can go to Vancouver, man.
As a traveling fan, I love it.
As long as the Cleveland team doesn't go 0-16 like the Browns, we're good.
Well, we got the Cavs and Indians. And hey, allow me a moment to gush about Cleveland rugby. A lot of people don't understand this. You have within 5 miles of each other, you have St. Ed's and St. Ignatius High School, 2 top 5 teams. In women's rugby high school, you have within the last, I think, 7 years, between St. Joe's and Lakewood High School, there's been 2 national titles. You have Notre Dame College, D1A double national champion last year, all the state. Cleveland is definitely an up-and-coming city, and we could definitely support a team. So, USA Rugby, if you're listening to this right now, let's make it happen. Let's do this.
Let's go with that. So, moving with the news, guys. So, the Legion, the San Diego Legion specifically, have planned 2 combines this week, actually, for January 13 and 14. The first will be held on Saturday at the Army and Navy Academy in Carlsbad, whatever that is, from 1 p.m. to 5:30, followed by one on Sunday at Exos San Diego, also in that same area, from 7:30 a.m. to 12. Sign-ups for the combine are now live on their website. If you're interested and you're in the San Diego area or close to the San Diego area, definitely go and check it out.
Army Navy Academy in Carlsbad, they have some crazy athletic facilities there. Really, really kind of cool place. Although if you pay to attend a military high school, I paid to attend a military college, you have my sympathy. But no, you have my empathy, but not my sympathy. So Exos San Diego was the training location for the San Diego Breakers. So I'm guessing it's going to be the training location for the San Diego Legion. Moving forward, as part of that addendum to the news, I had a call with Matt Hawkins, one of the assistant coaches. He held an assistant coach and director of operations role with the San Diego Breakers. His role is going to be relatively similar with the San Diego Legion. He's the main point of contact right now. He said, they have triggers that they are that need to occur, and one of those triggers was, having this combine this coming weekend, and then there's a few more things that to happen, and then we'll start hearing a lot more in about 2 weeks. So we're going to schedule our team series with we're going to schedule our team series with San Diego pretty soon.
That's really interesting, Aaron. It sounds like a lot of good stuff's coming out of San Diego, so that's exciting, and it's always good to hear progress being made. And I also understand that you've been talking to some folks about the Sevens program, or what's going on there?
The Sevens program?
Yeah. You got a note here about some questions about some Sevens players being brought up into the league.
Oh, yeah. So there was a question last week. I guess you would put that more into abuse than news. Quality of play. There was a This is American Rugby article, which blew up on the board, and that we run, which is our ML Rugby, and people are like, well, Sevens players transitioning into the league. So we've got a few. You've listened on Saturday to Grant Cole, the Flying Fijians, Joshua Vici and Osea Kalinisau, well, they can play 15s, and they can play 15s very well. Pago Haney, another former Big Sevens guy, and Zach Pangeline as well, also tore it up. So I think the right Sevens players will become great MLR 15s players. So
It is always a debate, that transition. Terry, have you seen much success with guys going between the two different styles?
I mean, you don't see a lot of guys that come from the sevens, like superstars. Doesn't seem like you see a lot of guys transition. I mean, you mentioned those guys. I mean, Nate Augsburger is another guy. It definitely happens, and I don't understand why it doesn't happen. Like
Todd Clever.
Oh, like I don't understand how like Perry Baker. Like how can someone? I know he may be a little bit of a defensive liability, but how does he not end up on one of these teams? You know, Carlin Isles, he plays, I believe, some pro 15s overseas, or at some level. You know, that's some try scoring machines. You'd think somebody find a spot for him.
Carlin had a short contract with Glasgow, played some, club 15s in Scotland, then came back, to play sevens full time. But I know that Carlin has spoken with Austin. So unless he stays with the sevens program, we could see Carlin Isles playing on an MLR team.
Aaron, I got a question for you guys. You guys are pretty plugged in. Where's Spike Davis?
Thank you, right?
That's the $1 million question. Everyone wants to know.
I can confirm that I have proof of life. He's alive.
Okay.
But don't really have much comments about what he's doing. I know he's working with Serve Pro. Did a ton of work down in Houston for hurricane relief. He's still working out. He's still massive and he's still fast. But we're not really privy to, why he hasn't been on the pitch in a while.
He was the TAR. What was he? That was 2 years ago. He was the player of the year, and man, gone silent.
But I know he is aware of the league and he is paying attention.
Okay. Huh.
And he's from Texas. I mean, he has 2 Texas teams.
If you happen to be listening, Spike, we miss you. Come back to us.
I tell you, like I said in the last episode, guys, if there's someone listening that knows Aaron Spike Davis, please send this to him. I'm serious.
So we will put you on the air anytime. If nothing else, we'll just talk. We need
that guy for the lineouts.
So, moving on.
Yeah. So usually Dan graces us with his presence and takes care of the tweet of the week. Obviously, that's not happening. Something about South America or Central America. I don't know.
Central America. Come on.
Yeah, he's in
Dan's
a Spanish
out.
place.
Out.
So, Aaron, I'm kind of hoping maybe you can field this one for us. What we got for tweet of the week, man?
So from @Mindy L, Mindy Luvano is also the marketing guru for the Houston Sabercats. She works also with IMG in Houston, but I actually met her. Now that I know who she is, I met her when I was at Lost Afternoon. I just didn't really know what she was doing because she didn't tell me what her job was, but she was at the Sabercats table. So I figured, she was, somehow involved, but I didn't know exactly who she was. But now that it jogs my memory, I'm like, oh, that's why she was there. So the quote is, "So happy yesterday was such a success. Over 5,224 fans in the cold cheering on our Houston Sabercats. People were excited and had a great time. I felt such a sense of accomplishment." Smile emoji with the fists pushing up the face. This coming Saturday, the Sabercats play again. Same time, same place. Go Cats, go. So, yeah, man. Now, rolling into questions from Bob. Corey, what do you got?
Yeah, well, just a quick shout out. Houston deserves all the props we can give them. The Sabercats did a fantastic job. I know you guys have beaten this subject to death, but I just got to say, I was just blown away by seeing those crowds there. Very exciting. So, yeah, questions from Bob. And the original Bob Boberson, well, he had sounds like he had a pretty special special end of the month last month, or maybe beginning of this one. He's got a newborn at home, so he asked the very reasonable question: does anybody know how to get a kid to sleep, or get a kid to sleep through the night? So that's his question. Since I guess we're now a parenting / rugby podcast, I'll go ahead and pitch my idea first, and that was I suggested that he start feeding the kid whiskey and cough syrup. That's what my folks always did, and I turned out fine. Don't have any problems whatsoever. Seriously. So I don't know. Do you guys have any advice for Bob as he's going on this new journey?
So whiskey on the gums was going to be, my suggestion, but whiskey and cough syrup?
I think that's what the kids call lean.
Out. But seriously, he did actually have a real question, so we'll go ahead and downshift to that. He would like to know, why are the attacks the attacking looks only 8 players, and which positions are they usually inclusive of?
So
why are the attacking looks?
Yeah. So why are rugby attack systems only including 8 positions? Why is the number that you add up come to 8, 1 3 3 1 2 4 2 1 3 2 2 1 6 1? So I think
so. This goes back to the series that you've been working on.
So
on the lineups.
Yeah. So I asked Gordon, and he's like, "Well, it's just because how shapes are, titled." Because I guess it's the way they've always done it in rugby. So offenses are based on how you position your forwards in the set piece. And so then I reasoned, well, when you think about it, so you position your forward specifically, and based on where the ball is on which side of the pitch is how you're going to line up your backs flat out of the set piece, rotating from each side to each side to where either the ball is focused with most of your centers shifted. If it's on the right hand of the pitch, you're going to have your 10, your centers, and your blindside wing on the left coming out of the set piece and the ruck. And then it shifts to the right side of the pitch when the ball is on the left side of the pitch. So that's just how they've done it. I guess there's no reason to call an offense spread, no huddle, double wing fly, which is an actual offense if you look it up on Google for football. So, yeah.
All right. And once again, Aaron's been working on a series of rugby techniques, and that's available both on our YouTube channel as well as where our podcasts are hosted. He just got done with episode 3. We loaded that yesterday. And so be sure to check that out and increase your rugby knowledge. Aaron's doing a fantastic job getting us all schooled on that stuff. So obviously not schooled enough because I had absolutely no freaking clue what the guy was talking about. So the last question for tonight comes from Humpers92. Way to go, Humpers. Keep it up. Yeah. He wants to know, actually, he posed through 3 questions at us, but we're only going to get to the first one tonight, and then we'll probably circle back around, talk some more next week. He would like to know, with the Sabercats' success in their first match, will we see other MLR teams do similar things to draw in local support?
Yes.
So, yeah, what do you guys think?
I say yes.
Yeah, likewise. Yes. Hopefully.
The center, I don't think they will. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, obviously, it's they've got a winning formula, so hopefully people, fall in line. They got a great program.
Because think about it. So they just set the standard. What is the standard? So, all this fan activation stuff, all this fan appreciation, fan experience stuff. So if the next team that has a preseason match, doesn't allow tailgating and doesn't have, fan zone, well, all these people have just read about how this one club did it. Why is their club not? So then then they shoot themselves in the foot, right?
Got to be a party.
That's right.
Unless you're in Utah, and then it's just a gathering of people being very.
Hey, they do sell alcohol in Utah, so someone will be. I don't know who yet, but we will get Bob a designated driver, since he is not Mormon, and he will get to drink, maybe by himself in Harriman. But yeah.
No, I think it's a no-brainer, and coming from a marketing background, you steal from everybody. When you see somebody else having success at something, you co-opt that stuff immediately because you want to have the same type of success. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, of course they're going to go, and the other teams. Plus, MLR has worked very hard at stressing community involvement and building those bases from the ground up, which I think is one of their strengths compared to other models we've seen, like Pro, which was kind of these teams just being dropped on the communities from above and expecting them to buy in without any real foundation there. So, yeah, I think we're expecting a lot of good things. It may not look exactly like what Sabercats did, because each community is different. But knowing your town, knowing your people, knowing your fans, hopefully these teams are going to be able to leverage what their local folks like to build a base that's just as impressive. And I mean, if we're starting out season 1 with 1,000, 2,000 people at each match, that to me, that's a success. And yeah, we had, 5,000, however many, at the very first one, but I think we'll probably back off from that a little bit in the second match. And I think by the time the season starts, that's going to be the real proof in the pudding to tell us what average attendance is going to be. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer. We will definitely see some other involvement, similar styles of involvement. These are professional outfits. So that's all I've got to ramble on about. You guys have any final thoughts on our way out tonight?
So just to get real quick, Victor's going to talk about our fan poll that we did on the X-Blades kit launch release and which team won for 2018 in his outro. But on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, we've got Dan Lyle to talk about Super Rugby in Los Angeles for that International Rugby Weekend. And then 10 a.m. Mountain Time on Thursday, we're continuing the team series with Dave Williams, head coach, Glendale Raptors. Victor, to you.
So we had like Aaron mentioned, we had a poll on our Twitter regarding which two kids were the best, whether Austin Elite or San Diego Legion, and to announce a winner. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the percentages because I do not have them written down. But in any case, Austin Elite is a winner. So congratulations, Austin Elite. I'm actually quite surprised. I thought San Diego was going to be the winner on that one because if you haven't seen their away kit, gorgeous. Wow. Speaking of gorgeous away kits, transitioning into that, if you haven't seen already, check out New Orleans gold away jersey. Gorgeous. It's white with some hints of gold here and there. A lot better than their home kit. And you already heard me rambling about the fact that I don't like that one. Although it has grown on me since then, I had to say. But the away kit, gorgeous. That one and the San Diego Legion one. Aaron, do you know the numbers of the poll?
There was a late surge by the San Diego Legion fans, and it ended up still being it was a comfortable lead. It was like 57 to 43 going into when I baited, and I say baited the San Diego Legion fans to come out wherever they were. And hang on, give me.
I've got the final numbers here.
Go ahead, Corey.
So final number came in 54% for Austin, 46% for San Diego. So that's a pretty solid win for Austin. And I think I'm not saying that my vote influenced anybody else, but I would say that I was definitely in that camp. I'm digging on the colors, and I think I'd tweeted about that on my personal account at some point during this process. So sorry if that skewed anything. I apologize. Terry, had you had the chance to check out those kits?
Yeah. I went back and forth. But yeah, I would agree with Austin. Those are pretty sharp. San Diego was very cool also. I would say, there was a loser, but I would say this. The thing that I thought was cool is I thought it was very clever that Seattle and NOLA chose to use their NFL football team colors. I just think that's very clever for branding, and I thought that was a good move.
Yeah, so not all the teams in New Orleans have all the same colors, but all the teams in Seattle pretty much have the same color palette. So Sounders, Mariners,
Seahawks,
and then the Seattle Saracens, the club that the Seawolves sort of came out of, also had those colors already. So, it's like the Seattle shtick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So again, congratulations on that. Okay, guys. So I guess we have come to an end of another great episode, another great podcast.
Dan might have just got replaced.
Yeah. we may have Dan Brown replaced. Hopefully not. Hopefully he's around next week.
It's over. You had a good run. My time.
Your time is up. My time is now, as John Cena would say.
So real quick before on our way out, Aaron, did you mention the fact that you've got a couple interviews coming up this week?
Yeah, and then I've got 2 more next week. It's gonna be a crazy 2 weeks for the show. And also, hey, thank you all for listening to our Lineouts Extra series, because we've had a great reception on that.
Definitely.
Well, we're giving the folks what they want. Sorry, Victor. Go ahead, man.
No worries. Thank you. And yes, we are definitely giving folks what they want. So again, guys, we're coming up to episode 18 of the Earful podcast. Thank you for joining us. Terry, man, thank you for joining us. Like I said before, big fan of the Rugby City podcast. And check out this new episode you have with this the Nick, whatever his last name is, from the USA Hawks. Him. Sorry, sort of limited. If it's not Ryan Burrows, I usually sort of blank on everyone else in the US Hawk team, because league is my second, but it's what it is. Also, guys, real quick, shout outs to a group of individuals that I was not aware of until a couple of weeks ago. On our Instagram and follow at Earful of Dirt, I posted a picture, and I forgot what it was, but someone liked it, coming from a page called the Soccer Cooligans. And I was like, who the heck is those people? So I clicked on it, and it happens to be that the Cooligans, which is now their name, is a American soccer or football podcast featuring 2 gentlemen. One of them named, and I need to look at the name, sorry, Alexis Guerreros, who's half Cuban, half Uruguayan, really nice mix, I have to say, and a fellow Dominican, Christian Polanco. This is really cool because, so again, only Dominican in the show is me, and I like rugby, and then you have this Dominican dude doing a soccer podcast. So we're out of baseball, which is great. Which is really cool. Awesome. Really happy for that. The other thing is that I had to say, their name is cool. They're indeed Cooligans. They're being in the show for a lot longer than us. So I have to say, they are cooler than us, at least in the meantime. They're also comedians, so I have a huge fan base. Social media is really big on them. Can't wait for us to get to that level and even more when rugby gets bigger than soccer. But in any case, they were really cool to give us a like on our page and also send us a message saying that they're trying to learn more about the game, and they know how hard it is in the industry of podcasting, and so they're trying to share the love. So Alexis, Cristian, muchas gracias, hermanos. Thank you very much, guys. Do appreciate the love. Hopefully, we get you into rugby, and I believe you guys are New York City based. Hopefully, when Rugby Club NYC comes up, I'll hit you guys up. Hopefully, you guys plus that Dan and I can take you to a rugby game, so we can get you into the game. We were very clear, Dan and I, that we don't really like soccer that much. So hopefully you guys are not offended. But hopefully we're going to turn you into rugby fans, and then the Cooligans will be a lot different. It will become a rugby podcast, but we'll see what happens. But again, shout outs to the Cooligans. Check out the show, guys, on YouTube, youtube.com/the Cooligans. So, in any case, with that done, guys, of course, speaking of YouTube, subscribe also to our show on YouTube, Earful of Dirt Fancast. Again, like us on Instagram, Twitter, and more specifically on Facebook. Our Facebook is sort of lacking in comparison to the other two platforms, where it reached 210 in Instagram. I think we have 214 on Twitter. For whatever reason, our Facebook is not going that up. Like, we have like 189 likes.
Actually, our Facebook went up 29% last week, so we're growing at a nice clip. Okay,
okay. Well,
I want to point out that last 2 weeks we have not at Rugby City 400. Gotta work on that Rugby City 400 likes.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know. Definitely need to go up. But in any case, like us on those platforms, guys. Also add us on iTunes, of course, Earful of Dirt. Also on Google Play, Stitcher, Player FM. Again, leave us a review. Thank you to the Captain Miles. Hopefully it's Miles McComb who gave us that review on iTunes. Please follow their example. Also, guys, call us on our phone. No one has called us, guys. We still have not gotten.
I would like a voicemail, even if you're harassing me.
Please leave us something on the voicemail. Again, guys, we have had this since August and still nothing. Again, the number 1-720-600-2679. Again, 1-720-600-2679. Once I shut up, and if you're listening to the recording, you're going to hear Corey mention it again in the outro, just to let you guys know. Keep in mind, guys, we did this live streams on YouTube, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Again, and just to finally wrap this up, once again, Victor's my name. That was Corey. That was Aaron. Our guest, Mr. Terry Kilbane. Once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you and good night, and we'll catch you hopefully next week.
Thanks, guys.
Happy New Year, everybody.